This story is very meaningful. Everyone should hear it. Listen to Brian tell the story. I never expected to be standing in the middle of my living room, staring at my phone, feeling my whole body tremble with anger. I had just read the message from Janet. You think you helped me? You only made my life more stressful. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Then, the screen flashed. You have been blocked. I let out a short, bitter laugh. Blocked. Just like that. After everything I had done for her. After a year of paying for her rent, feeding her, giving her a place to stay, while she refused to even lift a finger to help around the house. The anger inside me burned like wildfire. I could feel my chest tightening, my breathing becoming shallow. My hands trembled as I dialed Caleb's number. He picked up after a few rings, his voice cautious. Hey, what's up? I didn't even hesitate. I'm canceling our agreement. You're on your own for the rent. There was a brief silence on the other end before he sighed. Look, I know you're mad at Janet, but what, Caleb? I cut him off, my voice sharp. She just blocked me after telling me I was useless. I housed her for a year. I covered for her while she wasted her time and money. And now that she has a ring on her finger and a new place to stay, she decides I don't exist anymore. I owe her nothing. Caleb sighed again, but this time there was something heavier in his tone. I get it. I really do. I just wish this didn't have to happen like this. I clenched my jaw. I had no more patience left. Well, it did. Good luck. I hung up before he could say anything else. I sat down, my heart still hammering in my chest. I was done. Truly, finally done. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't going to be Janet's safety net. But what I didn't know was that Janet wasn't done with me. I should probably introduce myself before I go any further. My name is Lauren, and for the past year I have been the world's biggest fool. I let my unemployed younger sister Janet move in with me after she lost her job as a copywriter. At first I thought it was the right thing to do. She had nowhere else to go, and I was the only family member nearby who could help. Janet promised me she would find a new job soon. I believed her. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And Janet didn't get a job. Instead, she stayed up all night binge-watching Netflix, scrolling through social media, and sleeping until noon. She never contributed to the household. Not financially, not even with chores. Dishes would pile up in the sink, laundry would be left everywhere, and she would just shrug if I asked her to help. You're acting like I'm some kind of burden, she'd say, rolling her eyes. I'm trying, okay? Stop nagging me. Trying? That was a joke. She never sent out applications. She never attended interviews. She just sat around waiting for some miracle to happen. And the worst part? She was spending money like she had an endless supply. New clothes, fancy dinners with her friends, random Amazon packages that kept showing up at my doorstep. I eventually found out that our mother had been sending her an allowance. She's struggling, Lauren, my mom said when I confronted her. You should be patient with her. Patient? I had been nothing but patient. I had housed, fed, and supported a fully grown woman who refused to take responsibility for herself. But still, I didn't kick her out. I was too soft, too forgiving. Until I found out I was pregnant. I knew then that I needed my space. My husband and I wanted to turn Janet's room into a nursery. We needed peace, stability. But instead of sitting Janet down and telling her the truth, I tried to find a way out that wouldn't cause a fight. Caleb, her longtime boyfriend, had just started a new job. He wanted to save up before getting a place with Janet, so I made a deal with him. I would pay for Janet's half of the rent for a few months if he moved out first and got an apartment. That way Janet would naturally move in with him, and I wouldn't have to have that dreaded conversation. It worked. Caleb got a place, Janet moved out, and I finally had my home back. Or so I thought. 3 weeks later, I was standing in the middle of a department store when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my best friend Emma. Emma, did you see Janet's engagement party photos on Instagram? My stomach twisted. Me. What party? Emma. Oh. Lauren, she didn't invite you, did she? I opened Instagram and there it was. A massive engagement party. Janet, wearing a sparkling white dress, smiling beside Caleb. Dozens of people were there. Even my mom. But not me. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. After everything I had done for her, she had completely cut me out of her life. I texted her, trying to keep my anger in check. Why didn't you invite me? Her reply was immediate. Janet, you think you helped me? You only made my life stressful. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And then she blocked me. The fury was instant. My fingers tightened around my phone. My breath came out in sharp, shaky bursts. I felt my hands clench into fists as I realized the full extent of her betrayal. I had been used, manipulated, discarded like a piece of trash the moment I was no longer convenient. I wasn't going to stand for it. I called Caleb. When he picked up, I didn't waste any time. I'm canceling our agreement, I said, my voice cold. You're on your own for the rent. He exhaled sharply. Wait, Lauren. No, I cut him off. Janet made it clear that I'm nothing to her, so she's nothing to me. You figure it out. And then I hung up. But I should have known it wouldn't be that easy. Janet wasn't the type to let go of a safety net without a fight, and she was about to make my life hell. A week passed. For the first time in over a year, my house felt peaceful. I no longer had to come home to unwashed dishes, piles of laundry, or Janet's constant eye rolls whenever I asked her to help. But the peace didn't last. The calls started first. Unknown numbers, ringing at odd hours. I ignored them at first, thinking they were spam. But then, I got a voicemail. It was Janet. Lauren, please pick up. I need to talk to you. Her voice was shaky, almost desperate. I deleted the message. Then came the texts. Janet, please just talk to me. Janet, I know I was wrong. I just need a chance to explain. Janet, Mom says you're being cruel. I can't believe you're doing this to me. I clenched my jaw. So now I was the bad guy? I ignored her. I wasn't going to fall for her manipulations again. But then my mother called. Lauren, this is ridiculous, she snapped the moment I picked up. You're acting like a child. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Mom, she blocked me first. She told me she didn't want anything to do with me. Oh, come on, my mother huffed. You know how Janet is. She's impulsive. She didn't mean it. I laughed bitterly. She didn't mean it? Mom, she cut me out of her life the second she had a new place to live. She threw away everything I did for her. And now that she's realizing she actually needs me, suddenly I'm the bad guy for not running to her rescue? She's struggling, Lauren. No, I said firmly. She's dealing with the consequences of her own actions. My mother sighed, exasperated. Do you really want to ruin your relationship with your sister over this? She ruined it, I said, my voice unwavering. And I'm done cleaning up her messes. I hung up. But deep down, I had a bad feeling that this wasn't over. Janet wasn't the type to accept rejection easily, and I had a feeling she was about to prove just how far she was willing to go. 3 days later, my phone rang again. This time it was Alex, my cousin. Hey, Lauren, he said. You got a minute? Yeah, what's up? I wanted to give you a heads up, he said hesitantly. Janet's been trying to borrow money. A lot of money. I frowned. From who? From anyone who will listen, Alex said grimly. She asked me yesterday. Said she needed to cover rent since you screwed her over. My blood boiled. Excuse me? Yeah, Alex sighed. She's telling people that you kicked her out without warning, that she's struggling to pay rent because you backed out of your deal. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's rich, considering she's the one who cut me off. That's not all, Alex continued. She tried to take out a loan, but her credit is awful, so she didn't get approved. I exhaled sharply. So what does that mean? It means she's desperate, Alex said. And desperate people do stupid things. A chill ran down my spine. Lauren, Alex said, his voice low. Just be careful, okay? If she comes to you, don't fall for it. I swallowed hard. I won't. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. The knock on my door came late at night. I had just curled up on the couch, exhausted, when I heard it. 3 sharp raps. I hesitated. I wasn't expecting anyone. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. Janet. She looked different. Her hair was messy, her makeup smudged. She was gripping her phone tightly, shifting on her feet as if she was nervous. I sighed. Part of me wanted to ignore her, but another part of me, one I hated, felt that old, familiar guilt creeping in. I opened the door just a crack. What do you want? I asked, my voice cold. Can I come in? She asked, her voice small. I hesitated, then I stepped aside. She walked in slowly, looking around like she barely recognized the place. It looks different, she murmured. It's cleaner, I said bluntly. She winced. Okay, I deserve that. I crossed my arms. Why are you here, Janet? She bit her lip, looking down. I messed up, okay? I waited. I shouldn't have blocked you. I shouldn't have said those things. She swallowed hard. But I was mad. I thought you were pushing me out of your life. I scoffed. You pushed me out first. She flinched. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she sighed. I need your help, Lauren. There it was. I leaned against the wall. With what? She hesitated. I can't afford rent. And Caleb and I have been fighting. I don't have anywhere else to go. I stared at her. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You cut me out of your life. Told me I made your life miserable. Blocked me. But now that you need help, you're suddenly remembering I exist? It's not like that, she said quickly. It's exactly like that, I snapped. She looked away, biting her lip. I'm sorry, she whispered. I don't know what else to say. I studied her carefully, and for the first time I saw her clearly. Janet wasn't just lost. She wasn't just struggling. She was a user. She had always been a user. She had manipulated me, just like she had manipulated everyone else. And I had let her, but not anymore. I can't help you, I said firmly. Her head snapped up. What? You heard me? But, no. I shook my head. You made your choice, Janet, and now I'm making mine. Her eyes welled up with tears. Please, she whispered. I sighed. Find another way, Janet, because I'm done. Her face crumpled. I opened the door. She stood there for a long moment, like she was waiting for me to change my mind. But I didn't. Finally, she walked out. I closed the door behind her, locking it. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. The days that followed felt strangely peaceful. For the first time in years, I felt like I was in control of my own life. No more waiting for the next crisis Janet would bring into my home. No more walking on eggshells, wondering when she'd lash out or manipulate her way into another favor. But I should have known Janet wouldn't give up that easily. It started with the messages from my mother. Mom, Lauren, what have you done? Mom, your sister is devastated. She came to me in tears. How could you turn her away? Mom, I raised you better than this. I ignored them at first. I had already fought this battle with my mother, and I wasn't about to do it again. But then she called. I debated letting it go to voicemail, but a part of me knew she wouldn't stop until I answered. I sighed and picked up. Hello, Mom. Don't you hello, Mom me, she snapped. What is wrong with you? I rubbed my temples. If this is about Janet, Of course it's about Janet, she cut me off. Do you even hear yourself? She's your sister, Lauren, and she needed you. She needed me when? I shot back. When she was lying about looking for a job? When she was spending money on clothes and vacations instead of paying rent? Or when she cut me off the second she didn't need me anymore? My mother scoffed. She was just angry, Lauren. She didn't mean those things. But now she's struggling, and you're just sitting there, acting heartless. Heartless? I let out a humorless laugh. Mom, I gave her a year of my life. I paid for everything while she sat around and did nothing. And when I finally tried to put my foot down, she turned on me. And now that things aren't going her way, suddenly I'm the bad guy for not stepping in again? You're being cruel, my mother said, her voice sharp. No, I'm finally setting boundaries, I said firmly. And I'm not changing my mind. Lauren, I have to go, I interrupted, my voice calm but firm. If you want to talk to me about anything else, fine. But if you're just going to guilt trip me about Janet, then don't bother calling. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I exhaled slowly. I had expected this. My mother had always enabled Janet, always bailed her out. It wasn't surprising that she would see me as the villain in all of this, but I wasn't going to let it affect me anymore. Or at least, that's what I told myself. A week passed, then 2, and just when I thought maybe, just maybe, Janet had finally accepted reality, I got a call from Caleb. I hesitated before answering. Hello? Hey, Lauren, Caleb said, sounding exhausted. I don't really know how to say this, but I think you should know. Know what? I asked warily. Janet's been telling people that you stole money from her, he said flatly. I froze. Excuse me? Yeah, he sighed. She's been going around saying that you owe her money, that when she moved in with you, you promised to help her financially but then backed out and left her stranded. I clenched my jaw. That is an absolute lie. I know, he said quickly. I didn't believe her, but other people... Some of our mutual friends, they're starting to talk. She's playing the victim hard. I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. Unbelievable, I muttered. I just thought you should know, Caleb said, in case she tries to pull something worse. Thanks, Caleb, I said stiffly. I ended the call, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. It wasn't enough for Janet to use me. Now she was trying to destroy my reputation, but I wasn't going to let her win. I took a deep breath and made a decision. It was time to put an end to this. The next morning, I called Alex. I need your help, I said. He didn't even hesitate. What did she do now? She's spreading lies about me, I said, pacing the length of my kitchen, telling people I stole from her, twisting everything to make herself look like the victim. Alex let out a low whistle. She's really going all out, huh? I'm done playing nice, I said, my voice firm. I want to know my legal options. If she keeps slandering me, I want to know what I can do about it. Good, Alex said approvingly. Because if she thinks she can get away with this, she's in for a rude awakening. I confronted Janet a few days later. I didn't want to, but I needed her to understand that I wasn't going to let her ruin my life just because she refused to take responsibility for her own. She looked surprised when I showed up at her apartment. Lauren, she said, blinking, what are you doing here? I know what you've been saying about me, I said, crossing my arms. She had the audacity to look innocent. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, I snapped. You've been telling people I stole from you, that I left you stranded. Do you even hear yourself? Her expression shifted into something colder. I just told people the truth. I laughed sharply. The truth? Janet, the truth is that I supported you for an entire year while you did nothing. The truth is that you blocked me the second you didn't need me anymore, and now that your life is falling apart, you're trying to make me the villain. She looked away. I don't know what you want from me. I want you to stop, I said. Stop spreading lies about me. Stop trying to drag me down just because you don't like the consequences of your own choices. She scoffed. Oh, so you're threatening me now? No, I said, my voice deadly calm. I'm warning you. Keep this up and I'll take legal action. Alex already told me what my options are. If you don't stop, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. For the first time, I saw fear flicker across her face. You wouldn't, she whispered. Try me. We stood there, staring at each other. Then she looked away. Fine, she muttered. Whatever. I didn't believe her. Not yet. But as I walked away, I felt lighter. Maybe, just maybe, she'd finally gotten the message. And if not, I was ready. A month passed, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe. There were no more unexpected calls, no more guilt-tripping texts from my mother, no more rumors being spread by Janet. She had gone quiet, completely disappearing from my life. At first I didn't trust it. I kept waiting for the next wave of manipulation, the next desperate attempt to claw her way back in, but nothing came, and then one day I heard the news. Janet had been evicted. Caleb had finally had enough. He had given her chance after chance, but Janet never changed. She still refused to work, still made excuses, still expected him to carry the weight of her life. And when he confronted her, when he told her he couldn't do it anymore, she exploded. Neighbors had heard the fight, things were thrown, security had been called. In the end, Caleb had packed up his things and left, breaking off the engagement. Janet had no savings, no job, no backup plan, and no one left to turn to. My mother called me again that night. I let it ring for a while before answering, knowing exactly what was coming. Lauren, she said, her voice small. Let me guess, I said flatly. You want me to take Janet back in? She was quiet for a moment. She has nowhere to go, my mother said finally. She made mistakes, but she's still your sister. I closed my eyes. And where was she when I needed a sister? I asked. Silence. Mom, I didn't abandon her. She abandoned me. She used me until I wasn't useful anymore. She cut me out of her life the second she didn't need me, and now that she's hit rock bottom, she suddenly remembers I exist? No, I'm done. But, no, I said firmly. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not saving her again. This time, when I hung up, I felt no guilt. I had spent years trying to be the bigger person, trying to hold together a relationship with someone who only saw me as a convenience. I had let her take from me, manipulate me, make me feel like I owed her something just because we shared blood. But blood doesn't make someone family. Family is about love, respect, and reciprocity. Janet had made it clear, time and time again, that she would never give those things to me. So I was done giving them to her. I moved on. I had a baby to prepare for, a home filled with love, a husband who had supported me through everything. And in the end, I chose happiness. I chose peace. As for Janet, she had to face what she had spent years running from, herself. And for once, I wouldn't be there to pick up the pieces. This story taught me something important. Sometimes the hardest thing we'll ever do is walk away from the people who should have loved us but never did. Setting boundaries doesn't make you a bad person. Refusing to be used doesn't make you cruel. It makes you strong. Have you ever had to cut someone toxic out of your life? Have you ever felt guilty for putting yourself first? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more real stories. Thanks for watching.